So as we step into 2020, what's the message? It's all about love. We're at a very critical time in humanity. Some call it the winter of humanity. And yet during this time, it's essential for us as individuals, as a community, to be able to look after ourselves, care for ourselves, and care for each other. They say that love makes the world go round. And yet, it's something that's very scarce today. And so what does it really mean to increase our capacity to love so that we can truly fulfill the potential that we have inside ourselves? Every one of us has a capacity. And according to time, circumstances, and events, we can reach the limits of that capacity. And when that capacity ends, God's capacity begins. And there are moments, and very defining moments in our lives, when we have to deeply and powerfully step outside ourselves and become aware of forces that are bigger than us. There's God's power, God's grace, God's love, the energy of the divine that at a very subtle level is supporting us through such dark times. There is also the energy of the benevolence of circumstances, but often this benevolence is unseen. You can't sometimes make sense of what's happening to you in your life. And yet when we understand the whole of the drama of life as a mathematical equation and a whole process of balance, the balance of our perfection, the balance of being complete, then every event is completely scripted for me to come back to balance. And there are moments in our lives when we have to trust. We have to sit back, we've done our best, and we have to surrender to the benevolence of life and to God's love and grace. And within God's love, there are so many things. There's so much power filled in that love. In Hindi, we call it Shakti. And this is the power that enables us to handle events and circumstances and challenges in our life. There's a lot of affection in God's love. We call that sneha. The affection that a parent has for a child is such an important part of a child's growth and nourishment. And it's that affection that soothes the soul, that comforts the soul, and heals what has gone wrong in the soul. And then God's love, it makes us strong. When we feel God's love as our backbone, then an incredible strength returns back into mind, body, and spirit. And then there's inspiration in God's love. There'll be moments of divine insight when if you sit and practice a bit of silence, you will catch thoughts that are beautiful. You will catch thoughts that are inspiration. These are divine inspirations. And this is where the work of creativity and creation begins. So God's love is filled with so much intelligence and wisdom and strength and power and affection. And so can I open my heart consciously, move beyond all the limited barriers of my own ego to receive God's love? This is the effort, and this is the destination. It is all about love. And when we're able to open our hearts to God's light and love, then very naturally a beautiful healing takes place and a restoring takes place. Because inside the soul there's an enormous potential, and that potential is waiting to be released. And that can only be released when it's touched by the divine. At a physical level, we increase our potential in many different ways. Skills, talents. We develop our experience, our world expertise. And yet, what about our spiritual expertise? What about developing the art of giving and receiving good wishes? What about developing the art of ensuring that every interaction that I have in my life is filled with blessings? These are the subtle arts of divine relationships that make our life beautiful and rich. And this is what the wand of God's love can do, is to help us develop these beautiful spiritual arts that come with patience and tolerance and contentment, that allow us to live our life with grace and beauty. And so my personal wish for this next year is let go and let God. Allow God's love to do its powerful magic in your life and rise up to be who you're really meant to be. Whenever you wake up in the morning, what is the first thing you look at? You look into a mirror and you see yourself. Sometimes you see something you don't like. Sometimes you like what you see. And so much of what we see affects our self-respect. And so can we, every morning, instead of just looking at our physical faces, can we look into God's mirror in silence? Can we feel what God sees in us every morning? Those first few moments in the day, as I welcome the sunlight of God's vision on me, as I welcome God's love and embrace into my life, into my heart, those precious moments fill the mind, fill the heart, and they create a beautiful mood that sustains me for the whole day. And so a simple practice that you can do every day: wake up, and instead of saying good morning mobile phone, you can say good morning to God. Embrace God's light and love and start your day enveloped in that light and love. And before you end your day, finish each scene of every day by handing over and surrendering it into God's light and love. And when your head rests, let it rest on the pillow of God's love. And so this is the pure message of love. Let 2020 be filled with the magic of God's love. Om Shanti.